I slaughtered more drowned zombies at night with my Smite 4 sword. It's pretty easy, but I never found a trident. I mean, one of the drowned threw about 4 tridents at me, but I never got one. I found a jungle temple on day 234. I lost about 30 days of work in one of these before, so I was pretty careful. The loot was okay, just barely worth my time coming down here. On my way back home, I ran into a pillager outpost, and one of the best ways to take one of these down is to land right on top of it. Again, the loot was pretty trash. I don't even know why I came to this thing. I was just gliding home when I flew a little bit too close to this town, and the raid started on it. Uh-oh. I really don't have time to help. I hope you kept good ancestral records. Day 235, I was just trying to forget about all the innocent souls I just killed by planting some bamboo from the jungle. Everything was going swimmingly until a pillager captain killed my horse. Oh, you're gonna pay for that one. Tomorrow, this peaceful villager town is gonna be overwhelmed with raiders. It's gonna be a lot of fun. For me, it shouldn't be too bad. I've got a nice protective wall around the entire town, so I'll be able to just shoot these guys from a distance. The first couple waves of this raid were pretty easy, if I'm being honest. The wall did most of the work, though it went from 0 to 100 real quick. What even is this? I also ran out of arrows, so now I'm hiding. As you can tell, I was not prepared for this at all. Without arrows, I had to use my sword to kill all of these pillagers, which is not the way you want to do it. The fighting was so intense, it lasted all the way until day 239. And this isn't even the end of the raid. There was just one wave. There was no way I was gonna live that situation, so I ran away in defeat. But I got a totem of undying, and that was really all I did that for. If you hold this thing in your hand and take enough damage to die, you won't. It's also an achievement. I thought of no better way. I realized that raid is still going on. Uh-oh. Luckily, one of those horses I abandoned was just sitting right here. I didn't even have to retrain him. I quickly found a better horse, and we got to know each other over some nice breeding. He's decently fast, has an okay amount of health, and can jump over walls, which is really all I need. And for the first time ever, I'm naming a horse. I'm gonna call him Warthog. Resupplied and ready for action, I went back to fight the raid on day 245, but everyone was gone. At least I got a free totem of unprepared. In the first villager town, there's a single solitary villager alive. He's a master farmer hidden in one of the houses. And one villager's all you need for a raid. This time I also came back with 4 stacks of arrows, iron golems, and tons of cake. They did spawn inside the village, but with 4 stacks of arrows, I could pretty much just snipe them all from afar, and they're pretty dumb, so they never rushed me. I mean, sure, it took a while, but with how much land this village occupies, it was pretty easy to run away when things got tough. And it took almost a full 2 days, but I was able to complete the raid entirely and become the hero of the village. So I did a drive-by and a pillager captain to get the bad omen effect. And now it's raid time on day 316. Of course, I would never bring turmoil to the desert town. I'm in that first town that I found that I don't care about anymore. There's one single villager in this town, and as long as he doesn't die, I'll win the raid, so I'll keep him safe. The raid lasted well into the night of day 317, but because it was a level 1 raid, it wasn't that hard. I got the victory. When you defeat a raid, you become the hero of the village. That's what that icon in the top right of my screen indicates. Horses and caves just don't go together. Well, we're back to business on day 322, just trying to get another raid. This time we're testing our luck with a level 2 raid, so it should be a little bit more difficult. The raid was almost over on day 323. However, my diamond helmet broke, and the damage really started to add up. Most of the damage came from the Vex, and I didn't want to push my luck here, so I ran away. For the time being, I was able to go back home and make a resupply, which was much needed. Then I realized I only had 4 diamonds to my name and couldn't even make a helmet, so I decided to hit the mines. And somehow, just by mining, I became the hero of the village. That's weird, but I'll take it. And now at night I checked that the price of glass was back to normal, so it's time for more profits. But first I gotta get my poll numbers up, so it's time to start a war. This war took several days, mostly because I had to run away several times. I took so long the raid was no longer active, but the raiders didn't despawn, so I still had to kill them. So even after killing all the raiders, it took so long that I wasn't even a hero. But I think it's done. So bright and early on day 351, I went back over to L-Town to resupply for war. And it took all night, but eventually I did get the bad omen effect. The traps work okay. Honestly, the best part is I can stand above the pillagers and shoot them with my bow now. The stairway lava trap is by far the most deadly, and it's super helpful when pillagers spawn inside my wall. But it's not perfect. Sometimes pillagers spawn inside my house, and there's not much I can do about that. But still, after 2 days, I beat the raid and ate some cake. Even though I'm a hero now, day 354 was mostly just so I'll need a proper place to store them. And now I have a new goal, to fill this chest to the brim with totems. The next 2 days were spent on a level 3 raid that I completed without much incident. I didn't get as many totems this time, mostly because they were incinerated, but that's fine. At least I won the raid. Even with my level 3 discount, though, I couldn't make that much profit this day, but now I have a bustling aquarium. And the best part is you can walk along the inside of it to get a nice view of the fish. I think Warthog likes it. Anyway, back to business with some more raids. Like most raids, this one took 2 days, and the lava did most of the work. This is also the day I took the screenshot for the 300 Days World Tour, which is why you see a beacon in there. Now today is day 365, which means we've made it 1 year in hardcore Minecraft. And I celebrated with a cake, served on a diamond platter. All of day 3 387. Now this highway goes 2,000 blocks, or 16,000 blocks in the real world. I needed a little break from mining, so day 388 I decided to go back to conflict. Day 389 I did the raid, and I hardly had to think. My traps are very effective. And now because my pickaxes have mending, I can fix them by selling glass panes to the plans to turn him into a librarian, until a creeper killed him. To cheer myself up, I just worked on the wall all day 391. And day 392 I went back to the desert outpost to start a conflict that never needed to happen in the first place. With my wall and traps, the raids are very easy. The only difficult part is trying not to burn all the items I need. I never came close to dying, but only got 2 totems because the rest were burned in lava. And would you look at that, it's time for another raid. Honestly, I was just having a lot of fun burning all these guys. Of course, I laid waste to the pillagers and gained 5 more totems of undying. The chest is getting pretty full now. Day 396, I made some really quick profits at the desert. One thing that really helped was putting little half slabs around the whole thing, so any pillagers that spawned would almost instantly see me and come towards me. So by sunset on day 397, I was already started on another level 3 raid. This time I had some issues. The pillagers weren't really spawning where I needed them to. I also had some trouble with the Vex. Here my totem saved me, thankfully. It was a rough night, but the lava mopped him up and I got the victory. Day 399, I installed a landing pad at the trap control room. Now if I'm in a pinch or there's Vex on me or anything that can happen during a raid, I can easily land at the top of the trap. By nighttime, I was back to making more blood money. Oh wow, it's day 400. I have nothing planned. Sounds like a perfect excuse to do another raid. I spent all of day 400 just trying to kill one pillager captain, but couldn't do it. Fortunately, I got one on day 401. But again, even after an entire day of killing pillagers, I only got to Bad Omen 2. I'm starting to kill so many pillagers, these ominous banners are really starting to clog up my chests. But hey, I still need more totems, so we're right back at it. The raid didn't end until nighttime on day 403. But I netted 6 totems, and as you can see, the chest is getting pretty filled up. And what did you think was gonna happen on day 404? This one was a very interesting day. I got Bad Omen 3 insanely quickly, then went right over to Raid Town and completed the raid within the day. Day 405 was a little less interesting. It's just footage of me buying stuff at L Town and putting banners up. Back to raid in the day. Day 405 was a little less interesting. It's just footage of me buying stuff at L Town and putting banners up. Back to raiding on day 406. I'm really starting to get the hang of it. That one took 2 days, but at this point I'm 5 totems away from getting a full chest. I'm excited. And with my hype levels at an all I went straight back to raiding. And by nighttime on the next day, I flew away to total victory. You know, the entire point of this series is to never die, and I think I've done a pretty good job at securing that here. I had more than enough totems, so I decided to dive bomb into the ground to use up one. Alright, there's 10 days to day 420, so I'm gonna start burning them trees. I didn't get a trident, but I got to watch the sunrise on day 469. There's another pillager outpost near my ocean connection. I burned it down at some point. I tried to make a pillager farm all day. It's not gonna work. I was fighting drowned all night and got a craving for that sweet, sweet dolphin meat. Day 470, I tried to name the meat it dropped raw dolphin. Safe. I spent all day working on a locking mechanism where if I flip this lever, my villagers should be a little bit safer. And after quite a lot of wiring in day 597, every villager hut on my compound is hooked up to the same system. Day 598, I built this panic tower above the conduit. If things get hairy, I should be able to survive on the top of that thing. I also burned down some trees just to open things up a bit. At night, I tested the panic tower on an unsuspecting zombie, and it works perfectly. The zombie was lured into the water, and the conduit killed him. I quickly got Bad Omen and started the raid on day 599. The beacon powers made such a difference. This raid was the easiest one yet. Anyway, on day 600, I got the achievement for hitting a villager with a bolt of lightning. He volunteered. I spent the rest of the day making tree houses, which should help in future raids. I did another raid on day 601. I was mostly just testing my limits with the Vex with this beacon. Again, as long as I'm standing near the beacon, I'm virtually unkillable. I've also started on a second double chest full of totems. I got 7 today. Day 602, I spent all day getting Bad Omen 3 to test out a level 3 raid in the compound. Even this level 3 raid wasn't a big deal, especially with the tree houses I installed. Yep, mopped it up pretty quickly and then went over to Glass Town to cash in on my hero status. I spent all of day 604 making huge profits. I wanted to put looting 3 on my sword, but it's gonna cost 37 levels, so I think it's time for another raid. But again, as I stay near my beacon, I'm essentially unkillable. The raid was done by nighttime the next day. There were no profits on day 624, though I was increasing my infrastructure to make more glass. But when I got back on him, he was pushed into the lava, and I didn't have enough time to react. Well, at least I have something to take my aggression out on. I'm gonna miss him. He was a great horse, but I'm mostly sad I have to use Mongoose now. Day 629, I did a raid. It didn't really cure my depression. Though seeing the Tree of Murder like this kinda helped, even though it was my fault the chief died. I'm still profiteering on day 631. I think the only thing that'll make me feel better is another beacon. Though I can't can't even use it yet because I don't have access to enough fuel. Day 633, I flew back to the camp with Bad Omen 3 and started another raid. The raid took 2 days, but on day 634, I found out that if I stand below my conduit, no amount of Vex can kill me. Day 635 was 100% filled with shoveling. I've got to fill up that second quad auto to make, not to mention 12 withers, and all for a little bit more superpower coverage. I think it's worth it. Now it's time to break in the new beacon with a level 3 raid, and I used Fork to get Bad Omen 3. I only got Bad Omen 2 by the end of the day, but I had a ton of fun throwing a trident at people. The level 3 raid started on the early morning of day 651. 90% of the compound is covered by beacon effects at this point, but I've got 300 more days. I could make it 100. I finished up the raid on day 652 with ease. Wow, my second double chest of totems is getting pretty to produce, though. I've got to find some way to spend the time. I'm down for a raid. It's been a little bit. When I do raids at the main compound, I definitely notice that pillagers get caught up in this area a lot. I'm always looking to increase the efficiency of the raids, and I think a trap here would be perfect. The faster I can complete raids, the faster I make profits, and you know how much I love bird. Unfortunately, I spent all of day 706 just trying to get Bad Omen 3 and couldn't do it. However, after a very lucky day 707, I was all the way up to Bad Omen 6. Before this, I thought 3 was the max, but apparently it goes up to 6. The traps worked exceptionally well. I was able to burn whole waves of this raid with ease. And in the early morning of day 708, I defeated a level 6 raid. It felt good. Bad Omen 6 this time, as I definitely know that's the max. But even mid-level 6 raid, you gotta know I'm still perfecting my traps. I wired it up so even those big Ravagers can fit inside of the traps now. It's insanely helpful. I finished up the raid on day 717 and started on my third double chest full of I also put the kill switch on a block of diamond, just to flex. Oh, you thought that only took a day, huh? You don't know how bad I am with redstone. Well, you know what new traps mean? We've got to do some testing with a raid. The new traps are great. They're family-sized. The best part is now the Ravagers, which normally take a lot of arrows to kill, can be easily disposed of with my traps. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you kill the raiders with, just matters that you do it. I freshened up my tools and made money all of day 740. A good one. It's time for a new diamond sword on day 741. 73 levels below, so I made a perfect new diamond sword that'll work in raids. And I think the best thing to test it on is a level 6 raid. This sword has sharpness, which allows me to do more damage to the flying Vex in the raids. Well, it does more damage to everything, but the worst part about the raids are always the Vex. I can't believe I didn't make a sword like this sooner. I was finished with the raid before the next morning. Just went back to making money day 744. A max raid will make you rich. Emeralds buy happiness. Remember that. I'm on day 772. You know, now there's 12 cats in that thing. I have an idea I want to test out on day 773. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm gonna need a raid first, so it's back to slapping. I was thinking maybe if I put an iron golem between a wall, he could bash pillagers on the other side. But he didn't. This is what being creative gets you. Nothing. I did the raid. Golem died. Somber day. Next day, I went down to Glass Town, said hi to Binks, and made 64 blocks of art that I should have thought about. Thanks to my expert planning, there's now a raid happening in the town. There's no locks, no defenses. It's gonna be bad. I lost. I could see them all cheering in the distance. Worst part is, when I was going back home, there was a captain down here, and I killed him without thinking about it. No time to mourn. Time for vengeance. At the end of the raid, I was the hero of the village, but I don't feel like a hero. I spent the night putting up torches, being enchanter, though, because day 816 I dumped 50 levels into this bow and I can't even put mending on it. There's also pillagers in my sheep. It wasn't a great day. You can't put infinity and mending on the same bow. It's the law, I just don't agree with it. So I completed this raid using only my infinity bow, because if I didn't, I'd probably hate myself. Look good. I only got 3 sides done today, but if I stand here, it looks like I did the whole house. Day 822, I'm doing another level 6 raid for some more money. Gotta finish up the house. These are the problems you run into when you try to build a house literally made of money. Well, now the raid is finished, and it seems I'm just about 1 raid away from 3 full double chests of totem. Now it's time to fill up the furnaces with lava and fill my pockets with emeralds. Of course, this means wood. Well, that was a fun little conflict, and now I'm starting on my 4th totem chest. My hero status wore off, and remember, I wasted a day. But really, no day is wasted when you spend it with family. Well, I guess it's back to raiding on day 857 again. The trap does most of the work. I even burn totems at this point, I don't care. Most of these raids, I don't even have to move. I mean, they walk right into the thing. Needless to say, I became a hero by force and went straight back to slanging that glass. Spawner, so it's time to put them to work. All I have to do is punch any enemy, and then the dog army will do the rest of the work. It's quite intimidating. I felt so safe that when the raid was starting, I went to bed. I regret to inform you that at the time I only had enough hard drive space for 2 minutes of dog army footage. It was magnificent. They fought bravely and together. Nothing could stop them. But again, like I said, I didn't have hard drive space, so I only have footage of the first round, which they absolutely crushed. You are all good boys. This is also the first day I noticed some weird stuff with the compound. My villagers, they're gone. Look at me. In the end, it turned out to be a nice little ocean getaway. I don't think I can call this a shack any longer. Back in the main camp, starting up a raid and hoping to make some dreams come true. I'm attempting to catch an evoker. He's kind of like their leader, and also very slippery. He spawns the Vex, and I hate the Vex. By the next morning, I had him sorta trapped, but not in the place I wanted. Nothing a little water bucket can't fix. Well, that's just a nice addition to the compound. It could take a few days for the raid to wear off, but then he should be permanent. I already tell it's so great for my monster farmer. The raid's gone today, so this guy should be trapped here forever. I wanted to test it though, so I flew back to the main camp with a raid. The evoker in my camp didn't count as part of the raid, so I was able to beat the raid without killing him. If you're wondering, no, Glassdown didn't get corrupted. That would have been bad, because I just made 2,206 emeralds in 2 days. Windows later. I'm doing another raid today, and it looks like in the first round we're fighting my prisoner. Well, that was fun while it lasted. Get out of my mushrooms! No! Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I know. I'm the hero. I sold enough to get back to level 100, day 959. It was a long day, and right about now, I really deserve a raid. Hey, what? Though you can always use more money. Speaking of profits, I'm still working on raids day 961. This one went fine. None spawned in my mushrooms. I made so many profits the next day, the game itself was chugging. I leveled up a lot of new cartographers, and this made the game constantly freeze. More money, more problems. I just have too much money. If only I believed in charity. In this house several times now. It's not an easy project. For one day, that's not bad. We got most of the way up. But before we can finish, it's back to raiding. I'm not completely out of emeralds, but I know for a fact I'm gonna need more if I want to finish this house. The problem is, now I'm running out of glass. There's literally too many cartographers. They bought it all. Guess it's back to shoveling. Again, the next day I was mostly just shoveling to reset Glassdown. But by the end of the night, everything was back to normal. Not 100%, but I'll make good money. I went back to emerald house construction on day 960. Several tries. It's big and colorful, but still needs some more emeralds. I don't mind, gives me a chance to do a raid at the Emerald Tower. Sounds like a max boss if I've ever heard one. I completed this level 6 raid with ease. I'm quite notable. I only made profits for a day, got a quick 600 emeralds. However, this time, not all the glass will be used for profit. I'm building a bubble elevator to the max height you can go. It's a big project, but it'll save me countless takeoff rockets. And it took every bucket that I had, but I got that water up there. So now I have a quick and free method for getting to the maximum height in the game. Pretty useful. From all the way up here, with just one takeoff rocket, I can get all the way to Glassdown. And today, just probably would. I blew 100 levels on enchantments to make this sword. Its name is... Don't even come near me. This thing has 6 enchantments. I'm unstoppable. And because I could hack and slash these pillagers super effectively, I was able to complete the raid in 1 day. I had some time later to try to get a mending villager, but they weren't cooperating. My new pickaxe doesn't have mending, and my normal plug doesn't exist anymore. I'll probably get one by 2,000 days. Because today, I'm going camping. Camping is where you leave the house in the nude and survive in the wilderness. Sun is rising on day 1,000. I made it 1,000 days. This place has really changed. I spent all day capturing good screenshots because I'm proud. It's not over though. After 1,000 days, I'm still alive, which means there's still more Minecraft to play. Make sure to hit like on the video if you want to see me go to 2,000 days. I'm sure you probably do. But now it's time for the fireworks show. Just gotta make sure the dog I don't talk about can see. I just want you all to know this is probably the happiest moment of my life. The show was magnificent. It started with the finale, and it lasted about 5 minutes. Just a fountain of explosives. It was also very loud. I'm turning the sound down. And when it was finally over, I felt ready for some more